up? I'm outside again. I'm actually at a local park. Right back here is Santa Rita Elementary. I live like 2 blocks that way, like a block on the other side of the school. And there's this little park here that I've been to a couple times. There's this nice little stream right here and a bunch of open space with a bunch of trees that I'm walking towards. There's a tennis court over yonder. I just wanted to get out of the house and vlog for you guys really quickly and tell you about some of the changes that have happened in my mind and my spiritual life since I went to Houston last weekend. I mentioned this in my last vlog. There's a story in Luke chapter 10 about Jesus going to visit Martha and her sister Mary. Now Martha is in the kitchen preparing a meal, which is, a custom. Like, someone comes over, you make them a meal. Pretty simple. But the ESV says that she is distracted with much serving. She's so focused on what she's doing, on making the meal and meeting this custom, that she's distracted. And you see that when you compare her to Mary, who is sitting in, I guess, what would be the living room, the dining room, at the feet of Jesus, listening to him talk. And so Martha realizes this and comes out and says, "Jesus, don't you care that I'm in here alone? Send Mary to come in and help me." Which, is doubly wrong because, one, she asked the creator and savior of the universe if he cares about her. And second, she's distracted. She's so focused on the service that she's not thinking about Jesus being there. And so Jesus calls her out on it and says, "Martha, you're wrong. You're anxious and worried about all these other things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion, and it will not be taken away from her." And so that story's come up in the last couple weeks at church on Sunday morning, and so it's been in the back of my mind, but it didn't really become a part of my life until this weekend, because Sunday I have youth group on Sunday evening, and I was in Houston. I had a 6-hour drive back. Church let out at like noon. Well, 6.5 hours because we had to stop in San Marcos. But thinking about how to get back to youth group on time, I thought for a few moments, hey, we could just cut out of church service early, say goodbye to Allison and her roommates, her friends, and then book it. And I could be back in time for youth group. But then that story came to mind. And I thought, no, that's not choosing the good portion. I have to love, like the greatest commandment that Jesus tells us the greatest commandment is to love God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and strength. And if I'm cutting out of church service to drive 6 hours and teach kids about Jesus, I'm being a hypocrite because I'm not loving Jesus with all of my heart, soul, and mind, and strength. I'm just loving him with what's convenient at the moment. And then, so I decide, all right, whatever happens, I'm staying all at church service, and whenever I make it back for youth, that's when I make it back. Turns out I made it back for the last 15 minutes. Basically just long enough to hear Haley finish the lesson and drive kids home. But then, so that was before I even went to Houston. But then while I was down there last Saturday, we were mucking out this house, and it was exhausting. Because I'm a male, and so all the wet, heavy furniture, all the bags full of wet clothes and books and trash, they got filled, and there were also 6 guys compared to the 3 girls, but we had to tie them and haul them out into the trash pile in the corner. And I was exhausted after 5 hours of that or so. And so Allison had gone and talked to the husband of one of the homeowners, the husband of the wife whom we met earlier. And she comes over as I come out of the house and says, "Hey, take a little break. Go talk to this guy. He needs the love of Jesus. He needs to be encouraged and built up." And so I do, and I stop, and I spend the last half hour that we're at this house talking to this guy and I think it's his wife's cousin's husband or something, and then him and his wife. But as I'm sitting there talking, and 15 minutes passes, and I think, I got to get back. I got to help clean out this house so we can get home. But then this story comes back to mind, and I think, what is the good portion of it here? Is it being distracted with cleaning this house out, or is it choosing the good and obeying the second greatest commandment, which is to love your neighbor as yourself? And so I stay and I talk, until the wife asks me something about something that I'd thrown away. And then I'm like, oh, I know where that is. Let me pray for you real quick, and then I'm out, and I'll find it for you. And so as I came home came home last weekend and moving into this week and this current weekend and future, I'm thinking, how else can I choose the good portion? How else can I choose to love God and love people before I love service? And so it's been interesting. That story's taken on a whole new personal light for me. And so check it out. Check out that story in Luke 10. It's like verses 38 to 42. It's really simple, really short. And if you want to hear more about my trip to Houston, feel free to comment on this video, send me a message, do whatever you want. But that's what I wanted to share with you. Choose the good portion, everybody. Whatever is most important, recognize it and chase it wholeheartedly. Don't get distracted. Peace.